welcome to our first Like a Girl roundtable. Here, I'll just be shooting the questions, but the floors will be completely yours. So let me introduce you. From first Like a Girl, I think we have Michaela from 1902. Welcome, Michaela. And there's someone with you, right? And could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Araceli also.
Oh, Araceli from 1902. Welcome to both of you. Also from Space Cookies, we have Paige and Misha. Welcome. And finally, from Girls of Steel, we have Elizabeth, right? Elizabeth Mentor from Team 3504. So welcome, everyone. This is going to be your roundtable, and we just want to hear your experience working and developing in a mostly male-dominated environment, such as robotics engineering has been for a long time. So I would like to go ahead with the first question, and that would be precisely what your experience has been being part of FIRST as a woman. So we may go maybe Michaela and Araceli first, and then Misha and Paige, and finally Elizabeth. So Michaela or Araceli, the floor is yours.
Awesome. All right. So my experience in FIRST has been very positive, actually. FIRST has a great cooperation aspect, as you know, gracious professionalism, all that. And with that, I've actually been able to kind of involve a lot more females in FIRST, which I think is a great platform to do so. So at the World Championship, this is a great example. We were able to get in contact with ambassador teams who were doing First Like a Girl work in their own countries and states. And we were able to really see how much giving females an opportunity in STEM can push them to. So being able to see all these people taking, this First Like a Girl hashtag and really showing that we can participate in STEM and we can, be active in teams and really push out social media to other people who aren't so active, was a great way to show that.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Paige or Misha?
Yeah, so I can talk about my experience. I actually started robotics in high school. So without prior experience, I joined Space Cookies, and I found it to be really empowering just to be surrounded by peers and girls like me who just worked together and wanted to build the best robot we could. So being in that sort of environment where we're all pretty ambitious in our goals, but we also are very dedicated in our work, and having that team spirit structured around is just you go into lab and you always want to get working, and people are always asking questions, and I really found that environment to be very helpful. And kind of how we're spreading that outreach within our community, I think, is what shows how much impact we can make. So I think in that sense, it's been very powerful for me.
Thank you. And Elizabeth?
Sure, yes. So I joined the Girls of Steel when I was in high school a decade ago. I'm now one of the mentors of the team. And I was a kid who came onto the team having zero experience with anything mechanical related at all. And I think for me, on the whole, it was a fantastic experience. I love my 4 years on the team. Clearly, I like it enough that I've come back to mentor. And I went on to get a degree in computer science. But I can't say it's always been perfect. Over the years, as a student, as a volunteer for a number of years now, as one of a few, there's not too many female lead mentors, I have experienced things that haven't been as positive. That's not the cause of any one thing at first, but it is a reality that is still we face.
Yes, and well, all of you being here today shows exactly what First Like a Girl has been promoting for the last couple of years, the active participation of women in not only in FIRST, but in STEM in general. So let's get right into the issue in hand. And indeed, not many girls are willing to not only be part of, say, the technical team on their own first teams, but even not entering a first team at all. So what do you think this is? What do you think today, 2023, well, the first days of 2023, what do you think many girls do not enter either the teams or the technical areas of their teams? So maybe we could go now with Arzeli.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just like they don't have role models in those areas, or they want somebody there so that they can feel like more inspired to do.
I think I lost you at the middle of your answer, but I think I got the most important part. You said that they don't have another women to aspire for, aspire to being in the technical teams, right? Yeah. Thank you, Razeli. And maybe Misha from 1868.
Yes. So I think that especially in like co-ed teams, it can be really intimidating to want to join, even just like joining the team in general, it can be really intimidating. Because especially like I have a school team at my school that I'm not part of, but it is co-ed. And looking at it, it's the president of it is actually a girl, which is really inspiring. And I think having leadership that has like includes females, which is really like inspiring to the people who want to join the team so that they can see how far they can go within the team as well.
Thank you, Misha. And well, Elizabeth.
Oh, I mean, it's of course such an incredibly complex thing related to how kids are raised, like what are the messages we get from a young age about what are the fields that women go into. But it's also, I mean, I don't want this to become necessarily a discussion about all girls teams. It happens to be that 2 of the 3 teams speaking today are all girls teams. But I think sometimes it's just a matter of not even realizing it's an option, that that these teams exist. And I think it's related to what Araceli said about like having like role models to look up to, that if you don't see that that could be a place for you, it's really hard to take the leap to try it. So how do we get more role models when we don't have enough girls in there in the first place? That's a little like the chicken and the egg problem. But definitely having conversations like these helps.
Yep. And if you allow me, I think what the main topic should be right now is the great ways teams are implementing new activities and new ways to include women into their specific technical areas in their whole teams. So let me stay with you, Elizabeth, you as a mentor in 3504, and we can switch the order. So what activities or what specific actions you recall from your team as to include women into what you do in your team?
Well, so one of the big things that we do is we're trying to kind of start a pipeline much earlier. That by the time a lot of kids get to high school, they have plenty of passions, they have things that they're excited about, and to kind of shoehorn in one more with like a robotics team can be a lot. And so by trying to go out to the community and engaging with young girls early on we do a lot of FLL, we do FLL Explore, but also just going to community centers and running camps and doing all different sorts of activities that get I mean, it's often these programs are co-ed, but we often include a little flavor of oh yeah, we're an all-girls team. Is there an example of girls doing it? That is kind of how we've gone about doing it, that by trying to encourage younger kids to just see that it's an option that they might not be introduced to in schools. Showing them that it's an option hopefully leads to change in the future.
Okay, Paige.
Yeah, so as an all-girls team, most of our team operations are led and run by all girls. So with the help of mentors, we have all girls leadership, and a lot of the activities we do day to day are dictated by the goals the girls set themselves. So in that sense, I think it's very much we take our own initiative to figure out what type of robot we want to make, what type of outreach we want to do. And so we also emphasize a lot of program outreach. So we do a lot of volunteering at community events and science festivals. And also we have mentored an FLL team in underserved communities. And also just working with FIRST to kind of start conversations about equity. So FIRST has helped us a lot with our Me First initiative, which is just has been really helpful in growing that aspect of our team as well.
Okay, thank you, Paige. And Michaela.
So obviously our team is not just girls only, unfortunately. We are a co-op team, and we're not 50-50 either. There are probably, this year there's around 8 or 9, maybe 10 girls on the team, and the other members is like 25 boys, which not an even ratio, not very proud of that, but we do what we can. So First Like a Girl is a program we run on our team. So supporting females and young girls in STEM is like a huge part of our team. Everywhere we go, any outreach we go to, we always mention the program, talk about what the program does for people. Obviously, like right now, branding, I'm wearing a First Like a Girl hat. Like in little ways and big ways, we are trying to kind of support and push that out there. As well as social media. For First Like a Girl, social media is huge. Especially during the pandemic, we were doing panels and like, again, showing female role models, like females who've had a successful career in STEM and are now doing like, big things in defense industries with STEM and here and there, and showing that, you can pursue this career so trying to get in there at a young age and be like, hey, we do this, like I build robots. That's what I do. That's what I like to do. And the other large part on our team is just having equal opportunities. You can do, as I say, as much or as little as you want to. So the people who are really fighting and leading the team can lead the team and do that. I am in one of those leadership positions on my team, and I get to help kids. It's really cool, like and fun. We like that. But so just being happy and like showing like, yeah, I can do this. This is, yeah, I don't know. Another thing, when I first joined my team, I had no thoughts about, oh, I'm a girl going into a male dominated, work area, engineering kind of field. And as I kind of learned about First Like a Girl, I didn't realize its importance until Worlds, when I saw all these, the difference in how many boys were there and how many girls were there, and then how many girls were like, hey, you guys run that program, like that means so much. And I was like, okay, thanks. So it's just like, you can do a lot with a little. So social media is definitely a big thing for us.
Okay, and I'm glad you mentioned you didn't know the real situation with Women First when you first got into your team. So I would ask you, what prompted you or what pursued you to get into a FIRST team in the first place?
So for me, it was my older brother used to be on the team like 10 years ago, and I had just changed. I had like my heart set on a completely different career path, which was actually acting, funny enough. And I was like, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do that. And I went through high school and I was like, oh, I don't actually want to do that. And so I started during the pandemic, I started like just dissecting watches. And then, you know, one of my family members was like, hey, why don't you join that team? And I was like, okay, sure. And
Yeah,
here
watches,
opened-
robots, they should be the same thing. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, this huge entire world, like now looking into a STEM career, hard set on, you know, working in the space industry, all this stuff completely changed. FIRST is an amazing program, especially for showing that world of kids. It's just a matter of getting people to see, like, hey, come in. Look, all these things you can do.
Okay, okay. Misha, what prompted you to get into 1868?
So originally I was part of the 1868 VAX team as well. So I did robotics in 7th grade. And for me, it was one of my friend's older sisters who I grew up with. She was part of the 1868 team originally, and we used to drop her off to lab almost every day. And from there, it really, every now and then we go inside and look around, and it was really inspiring to see all these girls working together, and just like seeing all these like really cool robots when you're younger is like awe-inspiring. And from there, I joined the team, and yeah.
Okay. And well, Elizabeth, I'd like to know what prompted you to get into 3504 in the first place, but also what made you stay as a mentor.
Yeah, so I joined Girls of Steel in its first year, actually. So for me, it took an explicit invitation by an adult that I knew to prompt me to join the team. That some of the adults that were starting the program came to my high school, because at that point there weren't other kids to do the recruiting. It had to be the adults. And they came and they talked about what they did and how it was so cool. And they said, hey, we're doing this thing. We want you to try it. And even though I really had no background, as I said, I was like, oh, someone thinks I might be good at this. I want to give it a shot. And so I did. And I found in the past that an explicit invitation is really useful for people of all different backgrounds who don't necessarily see themselves in STEM. That being told, hey, you can be great at this too. That can be really helpful. I stuck around. So my 4 years in the team were great. Loved it. I went to college, actually thinking I wasn't going to major in STEM. And I ended up coming back around to computer science. And through that, I started volunteering. And I just volunteered at events near where I was going to school, and realized how much I still loved it and loved the experience of the competitions and the energy. And I was studying to be a teacher as well, so I knew that I liked working with young people. And so after I became a teacher, I chose a school actually that had a FRC team. And so I ran that team in Maryland for a couple of years. And then I actually came back to Pittsburgh to run the Girls of Steel. So I work for Carnegie Mellon University, and part of my job is to run the team.
Okay. Can we know what was your first option before computer science?
I thought I was going to major in Russian, actually.
Really? Okay. Yep. So we got an actor and an actress, and we also got you. Okay. Yep. Cool. Yep. I think that's the fun part of FIRST. Everyone, no matter what your abilities are, you somehow end up in a team and you get the best out of it. So I don't doubt there are some acting skills needed for FIRST as well. So yeah. Anyway, now we know why you enter and why you're rolled, and when you begin to be part of your team. And considering that most of the people watching us today are from rookie teams and are probably girls from rookie teams, we would like to know what is making you stay on your teams. What are your goals and what are you looking for in the next year, in this season, in a couple of next seasons, so the girls that are watching you in their teams can have like let's say the role models to continue this path in FIRST. So I'll start with Michaela again. I think, Arizona, you're having some issues with your mic, so I don't know if you're okay with Michaela answering. You'd like to give it a shot.
Yeah, so that is a great question. Mainly, there's the fun aspect for sure. The building robots is amazing and very cool on any scale. Has been amazing in learning those skills. But for the most part, like I'm planning to stay on, I'm a senior this year, as a mentor for my team next year. And that is mainly because I really love like cliche as it sounds, inspiring people, being able to see younger generations, which makes me sound so old. I'm a senior, guys. I'm not that old, I promise. But seeing people genuinely excited, especially at like outreaches or doing things where you have these kids who aren't involved at STEM at all, and they're like, "You built that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can do it too." So really, it can be hard sometimes. It can definitely be discouraging to see, get passed up for something, or you aren't as successful in a competition. But overall, it's really just the team aspect. I have amazing friends on the team now. I didn't meet them, but it was 2 years ago. Like, I've known them very short time, and they're amazing. And being able to work with them to help people really is like, just remember, whatever you do, what little you do can have a major impact on someone's life. So that's really it for me.
Okay, thank you, Michaela. Maybe Araceli, you could give it a shot to answer why you're staying in your team. What are your goals for the future?
Yeah, so I think very similar to Kayla's answer, just the amount of people that you're able to really like inspire, and that's really one of the reasons that I would stay on the team. And then also just it's a lot of fun, just building robots. There's friends. Yeah, I love the team environment.
Okay, thank you. And well, Team 1868, both of you, Misha and Paige, what do you think? Why are you staying on your teams?
I think that one of the main reasons I would want to stay on my team is last year we started this initiative called Me First, and it's where we supply menstrual products at FRC competitions and events. And throughout like the competitions that we supplied at last year, the feedback that we got was honestly like shocking but also inspiring, because you could see what a big issue this was and how it came in the way it did like have an impact on the opportunities that menstruating people like eventually got to have because of the access to the products. And I really want to see how far this initiative can go and how much impact we can hopefully have on menstruating people.
Okay, Paige?
For me, I mean, I think our team, we normally joke that kickoff is their true holiday of winter break. And I think that just goes to show the spirit of how much excitement we have building up to, seeing what the new game is, and seeing what the next 6 to 8 weeks hold, as we go to lab almost every day and work really hard to make a robot before our first competition. And kind of just seeing I guess girls gain their confidence throughout the season, and seeing how they transform and as they share more ideas and speak up in conversations. I think that's very inspiring to see. I'm also a senior, so kind of seeing where I started and then seeing how much I've grown in 4 years is really powerful and moving in that sense as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paige. And well, Elizabeth, I believe from what you've told us, you are the one with the most years related to first or in first. So right now, what makes you, well, besides it's your job, but what makes you stay in your team?
So I stay in the field for a variety of reasons. One, on like the really basic level, I've loved since I was a little kid to take things apart and put things back together. That's always been something that I've enjoyed. Pens, you said watches, the dishwasher, whatever I could get my hands on, if it could be taken apart, it got taken apart. I didn't realize that was a characteristic of people like engineers. I had no idea that there were people whose jobs it is to do that. So on the basic level, I just enjoy doing that. And so this is kind of fit, and I love that I get to keep doing that. But I stay involved also because there's a community that I get to be a part of. And that's part of the reason why I keep volunteering is there's a community there that I love that I get to be a part of, coming back year after year. And I mean, I'm learning things on the mechanical, the coding side, the electrical side still all the time. And I love that, but it's also because the people are great too.
Okay, awesome. So, well, for all our attendees, we're open for questions as well on the Q&A section. And on the meantime, I'd like to know from each one of you, if you have a women role model that you could share with everyone here in the webinar, so they can look up to them as well. I'll give you a second to think about it, because unfortunately, there are not too many in the STEM field, but maybe not only from the STEM field, but think about a women role model you'd like to share with everyone else. So I think Elizabeth is having a hard time looking for one. Yeah. Okay, so you ready? Let's go with Michaela and Arzeli, 1902. Michaela first.
Here we go. Just kidding. Okay, so obviously there are a lot of great STEM related women in the world. You can find a lot of them on Google. They're great. For me, a large role model in my life that was female was my mother. And I know you don't know who my mother is, but she has always been very supportive. And I think even that on a base level, just being supportive and incentive of, yeah, you can do that. You can do what, whatever you want to do, whatever you push yourself to do. So having someone in your life, or in my life, who said that to me and encouraged me to go for STEM and go, sure, go be an engineer, all that has been amazing.
Okay, thank you, Michaela. Arzeli?
I think just people on our team who have been like students in the past, or even like students right now, like Michaela, like leaders, they're so inspiring because you can like just see them working in front of you, and it's amazing.
Okay. 1868, Paige?
Yeah, so each year we decide to we vote on a name for a robot, and that gives us a really good opportunity to kind of look at the legacies female pioneers have left behind in the STEM field. So this year we named our robot after Mae Jemison, who was the first woman of color in space. So kind of having that opportunity to discover the legacies of so many women who came before us, and kind of identify, oh, this is something we can do, and we do belong in the STEM field. I think just that aspect of we find role models almost everywhere in our lives.
Okay, thank you. Misha?
Yeah, I would say, especially like since joining the team, seeing how much our two head mentors are both women, and they're two of the most inspiring women. I mean, they manage like absolutely everything, and they still like do it with a smile on their face, and the amount of knowledge that they hold, like literally go to them with like any question, no matter what it would be, like they would always have an answer for you, or like that. It's just inspiring to see them work so hard for our team and work so hard for the idea of us being an all-girls team. And yeah.
Okay. And well, finally, Elizabeth.
So as you all have said, there's so many people to look up to. For me, I've found it really inspiring to read about all the female programmers back when computer science was first in its infancy. How so many, like early on, the field was actually, there were more women programmers than there were men. because it was so math-based. And a lot of, if you had seen the movie Hidden Figures, a lot of the people doing the heavy math for like NASA and other industries were women. And so it was a jump to, they then learned how to program. And there were many years where computer science programs were gender balanced. And it's only in the last 50 years that it wasn't. So for me, reading about all the women that came early on, Margaret Hamilton, who wrote the code for the Apollo program, like people, Grace Hopper, I mean, so many that you can possibly name, that it's not like it's not a field that it's always been men and that women are like, and that reinforces that women can't do it. It's that it was a women-dominated field, and then it changed because of things going on in society, which is sad, but also fascinating and kind of hopeful, because that means it can change again.
Okay. Fantastic. And well, before we end this roundtable, we got a couple of questions, and I think these first one, how can we implement First Like a Girl in our teams? And I think this goes specifically to Latin American teams. So I guess, Michaela, could you help us out there?
Yeah. So as I said, First Like a Girl is a heavy social media campaign. So using that hashtag, holding events, we will have virtual panels or virtual presentations and workshops, as well as in-person ones. But that, among just mentioning, if you have any outreaches, or if you go to schools or events, wherever, just mentioning First Like a Girl, kind of carrying that with you all the time, constantly, even in your personal life, is a big way you can just help support and kind of push that out there. Among that, we have ambassador teams who, it's kind of like their job to do that. It's like, that's what they do for us, is they use that social media campaign and they push it out there in their home countries and states. And if you're interested in becoming an ambassador team, you can, and you just have to email us. But it's very easy, and it's a way you can have direct support in your community.
Yeah, maybe if you could write down the email on the webinar chat so everyone can have it, that would be awesome. And well, the next question is for team 1868. So Misha and Paige. Of course, being a women-run team, things are different in some ways, but have you ever felt left out of first events of First altogether?
I think generally our experience has been pretty positive. Obviously at competitions, there have been some experiences where we have received some negative treatment, but I think just the way we kind of handle that is just through focusing on what we can control and the performance we can put out. And we just kind of understanding that what people think is it shouldn't define what we decide we can do. So kind of using that to motivate us to explore more complex subjects, I think is really what we try to spin any negative experiences we have at competitions or just in build season.
Okay, and also they're asking how can they get involved in the Me First movement from your team?
Right. So we should be having a new Me First campaign coming out as soon as kickoff comes out as well. So there will be a form to sign up as an ambassador team coming out then as well. But if you want to sign up sooner, you can contact us via our SpaceCookies email.
And if I remember correctly, one of the ways teams were ambassadors is that they replicated your activity in their own regional events, right?
Right. So you would receive a certain number of pads that, or like the number of pads that you would need for your event. And from there you would supply and you would put up posters around the event so that people would know where to get their products and everything like that you would be able to do at your own event.
Okay, thank you very much. And well, finally, Elizabeth, I have this question for you as a mentor. So what is your best advice as to have an inclusive mood inside of teams that are not precisely women run as much of the teams are today?
That's a really great question. And I'd love to say I have the answer. I definitely don't. The last team I was on was that I was running was primarily boys. And we dealt with lots of cultural problems that even my students like really wanted to do the best they could by everyone on their team. But little things from just every little biases that they didn't even know they had, biases that sometimes I even have, can slip in without realizing. So for me, what I found to be the most useful was to talk about it. That having my students process and think about like, okay, if something does happen, like, can we talk about it? Like we can assume that no one here on the team wanted to do something mean to each other. It was just a thoughtless thing that just happened. And so how can we process together so that something else like that doesn't happen again? Or how can we be more intentional about making sure that everyone is included and that everyone can do something technical? Explicitly inviting potentially girls who feel like, oh, there's no place for me, I'll just take photos instead. Like, how can we hold them in and say, no, you can do that if you want, but you could also come over here and learn how to code. That explicit invitation is not necessarily something that's natural to do. I mean, I was a teenager, I was totally focused on what I wanted to do and what my closest friend wanted to do. And I sometimes wasn't paying attention to what the person down the like 2 tables over was thinking or experiencing. So by having conversations about what are people going through, how do they feel, what do they want to get out of the team, that helps build kind of a group that wants to work together to make things better for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm sure having you all here today is going to make an impact in many teams that are watching you right now from all around the world. And hopefully in 10 to 15 years, when we are having Warm Up 2037, you're going to be the role models that we're going to be talking about with other girls. So it's been a pleasure to meet you all. I wish you the best of luck this upcoming season for your teams, for your initiatives, and hopefully we'll catch you at Houston. So thank you very much for being here and good luck. Thank you.